Well, hello there, and welcome to another episode of Scouting 5, recapping scouting news from around the world for the week of May 30th, 2022. I'm Scouter Ken, and I'm finally once again recording from St. Albert, Alberta. And again, I have to apologize. It's been far too long since I've sat down to actually do a recording. The podcast feed has been quiet for far too long. I haven't even been able to get together with Colin. Life has been just that crazy. So I apologize, but let's try and get back into some kind of habit of producing regular episodes with a roundup for news from the last couple of weeks. We'll maybe start with a quick one. In the great state of Georgia, and specifically in the St. Luke and Fort Benning areas, it would appear that the Scouts leveraged a partnership with local media to earn a badge for, what else? Broadcast media. Quoting WRBL.com. St. Luke and Fort Benning Girl and Boy Scouts were hosted by Chief Meteorologist Bob Jeswald and Meteorologist Nicole Phillips today. They joined them during the News 3 midday newscast. It's a short story, so I assume, though, that there is some sort of badge for broadcast media within Scouts BSA. Any Scouts BSA listeners, feel free to send an email to scoutingstudpodcast@gmail or outlook.com to let me know exactly what the deal is with the broadcast media badge. Sticking with the Scouts BSA, but moving up to the state of New York, and this one is a bit of a warning, again, that, the wildlife that you may encounter while camping is, well, fundamentally wild life. Quoting people.com. A 12-year-old boy is recovering after being bitten by a black bear on a Boy Scout camping trip earlier this month in upstate New York. ABC7 reported that during the overnight hours of May 1st, a black bear approached the Tom Jones Shelter in Harriman State Park, which is in Southfields, New York, where a Boy Scout troop from Cooperstown was camping for the night. The boy, Henry Ayers, was bitten through his sleeping bag as he slept. In reaction, Ayers and his fellow scouts screamed, which caused the bear to back away. Scoutmaster Diana Nichols, who was one of the chaperones on the trip, told people that she was first alerted of the incident at around 1 a.m. local time by her fellow scoutmaster, David Zimba. She explained that the troop is made up of both boys and girls who were sleeping in various areas of the campsite at the time. Nichols explained that Ayers' minor injuries were treated and that all the children were moved into a shelter structure at the campsite. The Tom Jones Shelter, where the incident occurred, was temporarily closed following the encounter. Bear safety. It is important to learn if you're going camping, certainly here in Alberta and evidently also in upstate New York. Of course, it was very recently the Memorial Day weekend in the United States, and Scouts do tend to have a very special way of marking Memorial Day. Quoting the Press of Atlantic City. By late afternoon Wednesday, thousands of small American flags whipped in the breeze, placed at the graves of veterans by Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, cadets, and others in preparation for a Veterans Memorial program planned for 2 p.m. on Friday at the Atlantic County Veterans Cemetery. So this celebration would have already taken place. The news story is from a few days prior to the Memorial Day weekend. Continuing. The work was set to begin at 3:30 p.m., but organizations began showing up much earlier. Among participating organizations were the Air Force Junior ROTC program from Oak Crest High School and the Atlantic City Division of the U.S. Naval Sea Cadet Corps, along with several area Boy Scout troops. The Veterans Cemetery was dedicated in May 1985 in the Atlantic County Park on Route 50 and expanded in 2014. Plans were to place 6,400 American flags at the gravesites, and the goal seemed likely to be reached, with the fields of the cemetery neatly lined in red, white, and blue. Right, and now let's jump across the pond to where some Scouts in England are doing some quintessentially English fundraising in their attempts to attend the World Scout Jamboree taking place next year. Quoting the Falkirk Herald, Scouts are serving up a tasty treat in a bid to fundraise to help others attend a global event next year. The 4 teenagers have an afternoon tea planned for the Platinum Jubilee weekend, which I think was also this last weekend. And all money raised will help youngsters in more disadvantaged areas attend the World Scout Jamboree taking place in South Korea in summer of 2023. Pause the quote here just to note that these Scouts aren't fundraising for themselves, but they're fundraising for other Scouts who otherwise probably wouldn't have any chance at all of attending the Jamboree due to the fairly significant financial cost of going. Continuing. Organizing the event are Harry Miller, 13, a member of the 41st Falkirk Scout Group, 14-year-old twins Douglas and Fraser McPherson, also aged 14, members of the 6th Lauriston Scout Group, and Emma Harvey, 15, a member of the North Star Explorers Group. Their event is taking place Saturday, June 4th, tomorrow, at 3 p.m. in the 16th Lauriston Scout Hall in Spinkhill. Tickets will cost £10 for adults and $7.50 for children 10 and under. Those attending will enjoy a selection of sandwiches, scones, cakes, or tea and coffee. There will also be a raffle on the day and some stalls with handmade crafts and baking to purchase. So I guess, you almost want to file that under the Scouts Help Others banner, because it's very common to see Scouts fundraising, to attend Jamboree for themselves. But here again, they are trying to help less advantageously or less economically advantaged Scouts in the UK attend the Jamboree instead. And again, serving tea in England. You can't go wrong. Of course, one thing that Scouting, by dint of being a global organization, is able to do at times is bring people together, even when they would otherwise or might otherwise be separated by significant differences, whether those are political differences or religious and creedal differences, which is actually the case in this story here, quoting scout.org. During the Muslim holy month of Ramadan, Palestinians gather to attend prayers at the Al-Aqsa Mosque in the Old City of Jerusalem. Over 250,000 Muslims observing a month of fasting from sunrise to sunset worship at the 7th century mosque every Friday, requiring a tremendous amount of coordination and logistics. And this is where the Palestinian Scouts come in. Local Muslim and Christian Scouts volunteer their time and skills to ensure that events are organized, peaceful, and enjoyable for visitors. Scouts help coordinate queues, provide meals, arrange sleeping areas for those staying overnight, provide first aid as needed, assist elderly worshippers, keep the grounds tidy, and more. Over 1,200 Palestinian Scouts collaborate with the Office of the Palestinian Scout Commission in Jerusalem, the Jordanian Aqaf Office, and the Al-Aqsa Mosque Management to provide logistics and basic services to Muslims visiting from the West Bank and Jerusalem. Palestinian Scouts, including Scouts, Senior Scouts, Girl Scouts, Rovers, and Scout leaders, have provided their service here during Ramadan since 2012. They also assist those lacking the financial means to reach Jerusalem and work to reduce tensions among young people, leading by example by displaying peaceful and respectful behavior during community service activities. And again, I think this is just so cool because, if you know the history, especially of this region and sort of the often conflict-based interrelationship of Islam and Christianity and Judaism, it's really, really cool to see that through the context of Scouting, Muslims and Christians are able to work together to enable this very significant Muslim event at a very significant holy site for the Islamic faith to take place, and to take place effectively and well and expediently and without conflict. All right, sticking with other international destinations of Scouting, and again quoting scout.org, this time let's take a look at some training that's going to be taking place for several thousand leaders, hopefully, in the Africa Scout region. The Africa Scout region has launched a 100-day campaign targeting 10,000 leaders with awareness and learning on safe from harm, leading up to the 18th Africa Scout Conference in August of 2022. The campaign, which runs for 15 weeks beginning on May 24th and ending on the 31st of August 2022, will see adult volunteers, National Scout Organization staff, Rovers, Scouts, and national-level partners learn more about ensuring that Scouting remains a safe space for all young people and adults. A series of activities will take place during the 100-day period to help individuals and NSOs enhance their understanding and capacity to detect, prevent, and address potential safe-from-harm incidents, both inside and out of Scouting. The culmination will be to have 10,000 people from all 40 member NSOs in the Africa Scout region take up the WASM Safe From Harm e-learning course for volunteers and staff at Take the WASM Safe From Harm e-learning course. Well, there's a URL included in the notes. On completing the course, each participant will receive a certificate of completion. All participants attending the 18th Africa Scout Conference and the 9th Africa Scout Youth Forum will be required to complete the e-learning course as a mandatory part of their registration process for the events, and the first 100 people to take the course will receive a special mention on social media, while the top 5 NSOs with the highest number of participants will be recognized at the conference in August. And this is really great to see. I mean, we, here in North America, both in Scouts BSA and Scouts Canada, and I know certainly with other Scout organizations around the world, we do put a lot of focus on harm reduction, on youth safety, child and youth safety, because, unfortunately, sometimes, if you look into the history of not even just the Scouting movement, but almost any youth-facing organization, there are incidents. There are always incidents, unfortunately. And so the more that we can do to prepare ourselves to spot when an incident may be about to occur, when an intervention is required, things that we can do to protect our youth and keep them safe from bullying or from predators, these are all really important things, and it's great to see that there's this huge push to get all of the African NSOs and so many Scouters in each of them trained up and promoting these ideals within their groups. And coming back across the ocean, now into South America, an interesting story out of Venezuela regarding a partnership between the Scouts there and the Special Olympics, quoting, again, scout.org. Within the framework of the alliance signed between the Inter-American Scout Region and Special Olympics Latin America on September 17, 2016, to offer more opportunities for growth and development of skills to children and adults with and without intellectual disabilities, Scouts of Venezuela signed an agreement to offer sports training and athletic competition in a variety of Olympic-type sports for children and adults with intellectual disabilities, as well as non-formal education, complementary to family and school, which seeks the integral development and permanent education of young people. On 26th of April, 2022, an alliance was signed to promote and develop joint actions that support the execution of these activities in favor of people with and without intellectual disabilities at the national level in Venezuela, and to create opportunities in all areas of sport, of learning, development, and inclusion, and for acceptance of diversity. And finally, just a couple of award notes to make here. Well, I guess penultimately, a couple of award notes. Quoting scout.org a couple of times, Singapore's Che Hong Leng has been awarded the Bronze Wolf for outstanding contributions to scouting. Hong Leng, just very briefly, first joined, quoting the article here, the scouting as an 8-year-old Cub Scout. At age 25, he became an adult leader with the Singapore Scout Association, where he provided invaluable and extensive support to scouting across the city-state and beyond. Currently, he is the National Scout Organization's immediate past Deputy Chief Commissioner and International Commissioner, and is a fellow at the Singapore Scout Leadership Academy and an honorary leader trainer. And likewise, UK's Craig Turpie, a champion of youth involvement, has also been honored with the Bronze Wolf Award. Quoting scout.org just briefly, over the course of nearly 30 years of service, including more than 300 separate international missions as an adult in scouting, Craig has worked tirelessly to ensure that more young people and volunteers worldwide have an opportunity to join the scouting movement, while also contributing to strengthening the good governance and educational programs delivered through scouting at national, regional, and world levels. And finally, over at scoutingmagazine.org, which will be what I'm quoting for this last article, Bryan Wendell, who has been a prolific blogger there, has announced that he is moving on. Quoting from the end of the article, I've never been accused of being succinct when writing for this blog. Now that we're more than 2,000 words into this post, I told you it was near the end. There's no sense in starting now, but that's enough about me. I expect many of you are wondering what will happen to me or happen to this blog after today. First, let me point out that Bryan on Scouting hasn't been written by just me for some time. You've probably seen the bylines of Michael Freeman, Aaron Durr, Gina Cercelli, Kate Matthews, and Shanice Chappelle. As they have contributed more to this blog, having a single name at the top of the site has been problematic. I've received dozens of emails thanking me for today's fantastic post, only to have to redirect the well-meaning reader's praise to one of the other contributors. Aaron Durr, who will run the blog moving forward, has been with the BSA for 20 years. He's had experience writing for Boys Life, now Scout Life, and also Scouting Magazine. He served as a BSA volunteer at the Cub Scout and Scouts BSA level, and you'll probably recognize him from Trek on Tuesday and other Facebook Live events. As one chapter ends and the next begins, I want to reserve my final thanks to you, the loyal reader. Thank you for your blog ideas, your feedback, and your support. Thanks for reading and coming back. And most of all, thank you for all you do for scouting. And if you're curious at where Bryan is going next, he does explain that a little earlier in the article. I've taken a new position, he writes, as the Director of Communications for USA Fencing, which is the national governing body for the Olympic sport of fencing in the U.S. The new role simply won't leave me with the time I need to continue writing for the blog at the level that Scouters expect and deserve. So there you have it. We bid farewell to Bryan Wendell, whose posts I know I've quoted several times over the course of doing these Scouting 5 episodes. So sir, I wish you all good luck in your new venture. And that is all the news I have for you this week. Thank you again for listening, and until next time, be prepared.